Today we are looking at transformation, and the first transformation we're starting with is translation. The warm up for today is just asking you guys to go ahead and name each type of transformation. I'm gonna blow this up real quick. And so we have three different images, and they're giving you. Remember that A, B, and C. The letter is doesn't have a tick mark, which is known as prime. Then that's your pre-image, and then your image, which is the some type of transformation occurred, will have a tick mark after each letter, and that tick mark represents prime. So on one, two, and three, all you're doing is stating what type of transformation occurred. So it either is going to be translation, reflection, or rotation. And we'll get to dilations later. So here's our learning target and success criteria. I don't know why this is off. Let me move this up. We are learning how to translate figures within the coordinate plane. And then the success criteria is I can move figures left or right in the coordinate plane. And this should also say up or down. Up or down the coordinate plane. And then I can apply translation rules to a given ordered pair. So if you can do these two things, then it's considered you should be successful within this section. We have two YouTube videos, and I'm gonna go ahead and click the link because you guys don't have access to YouTube. In each video, I think one of them is only a minute and 28 seconds, and then the other video is like 2 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and play that now.
My job is to make college easier because students have a lot.
We speak student.
Transformations a la Schmuck. No matter how spectacular you are, and we're sure you're pretty spectacular, sometimes you just need a new you.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you've been thinking about getting brown highlights. Or perhaps it's time to start speaking to everyone in a British accent.
There you go, chap.
Change is good. Most of the time, at least.
Rubbish.
You're not the only one who feels good after an extreme makeover. Suppose for a moment that you're a two-dimensional shape located on a coordinate plane. Sounds like fun, right? Well, then it's time for a transformation. A transformation involves a shape being flipped, shifted, or spun around, so it can get a little excitement in its life. Of course, mathematicians have come up with some fancier names for these maneuvers. When a shape is turned in one direction or another, it's called rotation. Car tires, a lazy Susan, even our planet, they all adhere to this rotational movement.
Wrong axis, dummy.
If a shape instead maintains its orientation but gets shifted somewhere else, up, down, or side to side, then we call that translation. Be careful to keep tabs on your shapes at all times when performing this process, as you don't want them to wind up lost in translation. And as the best things always come in threes, there is one more type of transformation: reflection.
Perhaps I'm too evil.
As you might guess, reflection occurs when you take a 2D shape and flip it. More like this. And wouldn't you know it, our little triangle friend is so much happier now that he's gotten to reinvent himself.
Old me would have scoffed at that remark.
Step into the salon and get ready for your transformation.
Just a little off the top.
You'll love the way you look. We guarantee it.
Okay, so that's the first video. I'm gonna go ahead and play the next one. And again, I think this video is only a minute and about 30 seconds.
Hi, I'm Denise Carter, the owner and founder of Smarty Bunch Education. Need help with geometry transformations? I can help. Try this geometry slide. Remember, flip for reflection, slide for translation, and turn for rotation.
I flip for reflection, I slide for translation, I turn for rotation in geometry. Flip, slide, turn. You do it, you do it, you do it. Flip, slide, turn. You do it, you do it, you do it. I flip for reflection, I slide for translation, I turn for rotation in geometry. Flip, slide, turn. You do it, you do it, you do it. I flip for reflection, I slide for translation, I turn for rotation in geometry. Flip, slide, turn. You do it. All right. I flip for reflection, I slide for translation, I turn for rotation in.
Okay, so those are the two YouTube videos on transformations, guys. All right, so now we're actually going to be doing the translation notes. And we're going to do both directions, guys. So one set is we're going to actually take the order pair or coordinates and we're going to apply the rule. And then the other set of the notes, the bottom half of the notes, will actually take the figure in the coordinate plane and move it around. So looking at this very first problem, it's asking us to translate the image by taking x and subtracting 8 and then taking y and adding 2. So when we are looking at our coordinates, I'm trying to pick up a pen color. If we are subtracting x, that means that we're moving to the left. So if you subtract x, that means you're going left. If you add x, that means it's going to the right. If I'm adding to y, then that means that my points are going up. Okay. So we're going to actually just use the rule algebraically to get the new transformation. So remember, they gave us 3 coordinates. We have CAT, known as cat. When I do a transformation, I have to now transform the letter and put a tick mark here, which is known as prime. So C prime, which would be my new coordinates. So again, I'm going to apply the rule. So we have -2 minus 8, and then we have 4 plus 2. And this will give us our new coordinate. So our answer will actually be -2 minus 8. Guys, please put this in your calculator because a lot of you guys get this wrong. But the best way to look at this, if I have 2 negatives, I'm actually going to add and subtract. So it's like I'm adding 2 negative values. So it's -2 plus a -8, which should give you a -10. Okay. And then I have 4 plus 2, which my new coordinate will be 6. So my C prime will be -10 and +6. All right, let's try the next one. So again, I'm going to just apply the rules algebraically. So in this case, I'm looking at A prime. I'm starting off with the point 0. So I'm going to do 0 minus 8. And then I have -8 for my Y. And then I'm going to do -8 plus 2. Now, for those of you that might struggle with this, the very first thing I will do is label my X and my Y. So then you won't get them confused. Remember that X is always your first coordinate and Y is always your second coordinate. And we took these notes when we looked at just graphing points in the coordinate plane. So from here, I'm doing 0 minus 8, which will give me a -8. And then I have -8 plus 2, which will give me a -6. So my A prime will be -8 and -6. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the last example. We have the letter T. So we're going to do T prime. T prime, we have X is -3. So I'm going to do -3 minus 8. And then my Y is 5. So I'm going to do 5 plus 2. So in this case, my T prime, -3 minus 8, again, I would change this to a plus minus. So I'm adding 2 negative numbers. So -3 minus 8 is going to give me a -11. Okay. And then 5 plus 2 will give me a +7. So this is how you show your work algebraically when translating coordinates in the coordinate plane using a rule. So again, on the next slide, I will pause the video at this time to go ahead and copy this down. But on the next slide, it actually shows you the solutions, which is what we got. So C prime was -10 and 6. A prime was -8 and -6. T prime was -11 and 7. All right, so here's another set. They gave us a new set of rules. And I already labeled X and Y for each of these. And this time we're using hat. So in this rule, let's look at it. We have 2x plus 2. So we're going to multiply 2 to our x and then add 2. And then for our y, we're going to subtract 3. Remember that if you're adding to your x, this means it's moving to the right. If you're subtracting to your y, that means it's going down. So let's go ahead and apply the rules. So I'm going to draw my arrow. I have h prime because now I'm actually doing the transformation now. We're going to do 2, and then I'm substituting, guys. So 2 times 1 plus 2. And then I'm put a comma, and I am subtracting my y. So 2 minus 3. So what you get is, I would type this completely in my calculator, this whole function, whole evaluation. But 2 times 1 is just 2, and then 2 plus 2 is going to give me 4. So my new x is going to be 4, and my y is going to be 2 minus 3, which will give me a negative 1. So that's h prime. Now we're going to do the same thing for a prime. So I'm going to write a with the tick mark, represent prime, and then I'm going to do my transformation. So I'm going to do 2, my x is negative 3. So 2 times negative 3 plus 2. And then y, we're going to do negative 5, because that's y, minus 3. And then I'm going to simplify. So we have 2 times a negative 3. Again, I would type this entire thing in my calculator, but 2 times a negative 3 give me a negative 6. And then negative 6 plus 2 is going to give me a negative 4. Okay, so my x is negative 4. And then I got negative 5 minus 3. I'm going to change this negative to a positive. So again, I'm adding 2 negatives together. So negative 5 plus a negative 3 will give me a negative 8. And then finally, we're looking for t prime. So again, I'm substituting. So I'm doing 2 times 4 plus 2 for x. And then for y, I'm doing negative 1 minus 3. So I get 2 times 4 is going to give me 8. And then I have to add 2. So 8 plus 2 will give me 10. And then I have negative 1 minus 3. Again, I would change this to a positive negative. So I'm adding 2 negative numbers together. So negative 1 plus a negative 3 is going to give me a negative 4. Again, I will pause the video at this time to copy this down. But this is how you would translate coordinates using the rules. And as you see, when you go to the next slide, they got the exact same values. So h prime was 4, negative 1. A prime was negative 4, negative 8. And then t prime was 10 and negative 4. Okay. All right. Now this example, guys, I want you to highlight, underline, whatever makes your life a little bit easier. But I want you to highlight. Oh, my highlighter not working. Must be this black. Let me see something. Oh, it looked weird. But highlight the word pre-image or underline the word pre-image. And the reason that is so important is because it's asking you not to find the image. So in the previous examples, this did not, it just cleared it out. I'll do it again. So I underline pre-image. Highlight it, and then I also underline it, but do one or the other. So either highlight this word or underline it. Before, guys, we started with our pre-image. And the reason we know is because it literally just says the letters without a tick mark. So H, A, and T is a pre-image. And then H prime, A prime, and T prime, those are considered our image. Okay. So initially, we always started with our pre-image. And then we transformed our pre-image to get our image. Okay. Which is why it always made sense to have these arrows. So we start with our pre-image, and then we transform translated our figures, our points, and we got our image. On this example, guys, we're actually starting with our image. And again, because it says B prime, A prime, and T prime. We're starting with our image, and we're actually trying to go the other direction, which is going to be to figure out our pre-image. So instead of starting with the pre-image and going forward, we're going backwards. So they gave us our our image, and we're trying to find our pre-image. So in order to do that, that's why these operations are underlined or circled. So x plus 12 is what they did to get the image. To undo that and actually get the pre-image, I actually need to subtract. We need to do x minus 12. And again, if you can't see it, I'll write it again. Then we have y minus 17. And again, that was to get the image, but I'm trying to go backwards and see where we started. And so the opposite or inverse of subtraction will be addition. So these are the actual rules we're going to use. We're going to subtract, take x and subtract 12 and take y and add 17. Okay, and that'll give us our B prime, our A prime, that'll give us our B, A, and C. B, A, and T. I apologize. So again, now from here, all I'm doing is substituting. I will label x and y. So on this first one, my x is 5, my y is negative 29. So I'm actually going to do 5 minus 12 and then negative 29 plus 17. Okay. And that'll give us our b. So in my calculator, I'm literally going to do 5 minus 12, which will give me a negative value. It's going to give me a negative 7. And then I'm going to do a negative 29 plus 17, which will give me a negative 12. So here's my b, negative 7 and negative 12. All right. Now, again, I'm going to do the exact same thing for A and for T. So my X in this case for A is 20. I'm going to do 20 minus 12. And then I'm going to do my Y is negative 19. Negative 19 plus 17. Okay. Again, in my calculator, I'm doing 20 minus 12, which will give me a positive 8. And then I'm going to do a negative 19 plus 17 in the calculator, which should give me a negative 2. Okay, so now I have A. Finally, I need to find T. Again, I already labeled X and Y. So to get T, I'm going to do 21 minus 12. Okay, because 21 is my X. And then I'm going to do negative 4 plus 17 because negative 4 is my Y. And that'll give me T. So in the calculator, I'm typing in 21 minus 12. It gave me 9. And then I have negative 4 plus 17, which gives me 13. So again, just to recap, I wanted you to underline or circle the word preimage. The reason why is because in the previous transformations or previous translations, we always started with the preimage and went to the image. In this case, we starting with the image and we're going backwards to get our preimage, which is the original picture we started with. And so what we did was we started with x plus 12. We wanted to take the inverse, so I did minus, right? Because the inverse of addition is subtraction. And then we started with y minus 17. I want to take the inverse of subtraction, which is addition. So for each of these transformations, I did the inverse to get B, A, and T because we started with B prime, A prime, and T prime. And again, if you guys have additional questions, feel free to ask me during class time or send me a message in Verge. When you go to the next slide, you'll see that they have the exact same solutions that I have, okay? So B was negative 7, negative 12. A was 8 and negative 2, and then T is 9 and 13. All right, so now we are done actually applying the rules, which is really just doing the algebra part of it. And now we're doing from the graph. So from the graph, we're going to move our image 1 unit to the left. Okay, so all you're going to do, I will take each of these points. You cannot count at the point you started with. So starting at X, I'm going to go 1 unit to the left. So this would be, again, remember to label your points. This would be X prime. Starting at G, I'm going 1 unit to the left, and this would be G prime. Starting at Q, I'm going 1 unit to the left. This would be Q prime. Starting at U, I'm going 1 unit to the left. This would be U prime. And then after you plotted all your points, you just connect your picture. And mine might not be straight, but y'all get the point. So that's it. So on your picture, that's all you guys are doing. And your coordinate plane, you're literally taking each point and counting 1 unit to the left. And again, please make sure that you label your points. So I label mine as X, G, X prime, G prime, Q prime, and U prime. Again, pause the video at this time to copy this down in your notes. Let's look at the next example. They want us to go 1 unit to the right, okay? And again, that means I'm moving X. When you go left and right, you're moving X. Go up and down, you're moving Y. So 1 unit to the right. So I'm going to take each of these points and go 1 unit to the right. So right here at T, I went to 1 unit to the right. And then they asked me to go 2 down. 1, 2. So here's my new coordinate. And again, please make sure you label it. I don't really have a space, but I'm going to put it over here somewhere. This is T prime. All right. Now I am going to go 1 unit to the right and then down to 1, 2. Here's my I prime. And then E, I'm going 1 unit to the right, 1. Then go 2 units down, 1, 2. And this is E prime. So then once you got all your points and you labeled them and grabbed them, then just draw the shape again, which is by just connecting the coordinates. So here's my T prime, I prime, and E prime. Again, go ahead and pause the video at this time to go ahead and copy this in your graphic organizer. Let's look at the next example. They want us to write a description, which is write a rule to describe each transformation. So I'm going to do 2 of these, and I want you guys to do 2 by yourself to finish out the notes. So we have let's count and see what happened from I to I prime. We just went 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. So let's double check and make sure that's the rule. Let's go from M. 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. Let's go from U. 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. And from Q, 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. So to write this rule, remember that X, this goes left or right. Okay. And then Y goes up or down. So we went up, okay, which means that X is not going to change, but Y will. So to write this rule, I'm just going to write X because I didn't do anything to my X. And then I'm going to put Y plus 4 because we went 4 units up. And that's your rule. Okay. Again, pause the video at this time to copy this down in your notes. I'm going to go ahead and do this next one. They want us to, again, describe the rule. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. Makes it look easier to see. All right. So from F to F prime, we went 1, 2, 3 units to the right. And let's go down. 1, 2, 3 units down. So let's make sure that rule applies. And again, if you want, you can draw on top of here. So we went 3 units to the right, 3 units down. From D, let's see. 1, 2, 3 units to the right. And then we went 1, 2, 3 units down. Okay, so it worked for F, it worked for D. Let's try K. 1, 2, 3 units down. 1, 2, 3 units to the right. Okay, so that worked as well. 3 down, 3 to the right. And then let's try I. We went 1, 2, 3 units to the right. 1, 2, 3 units down. Okay, so that's our rule. So in this case, again, I'm going to reiterate. X goes left or right. To go left, you're going to subtract. To go right, you're going to add. And then Y goes up or down. Okay, to go up, you're going to add. to go down, you're going to subtract. So in this case, again, we went 3 units to the right, which means that I'm going to add, and then we went 3 units down, which means I'm going to subtract. So the rule for this one is x plus 3 and y minus 3. Okay. So you guys only have 2 more graphs to complete to write the rules for. So again, I'm going to just give you the rules again. X either goes left or right. And then y goes up or down. And again, if you're going to the left, you're going to subtract. If you're going to the right, you're going to add. To go up, you're going to add. To go down, you're going to subtract. So from here, again, I would do the same tactic I just used on the other 2 examples. Start at L, go to L prime. Start at E, go to E prime. Start at B, go to B prime. Okay, and figure out how many units to go left, right, up, or down. And you're going to do the same thing on the slide 17. And once you have done that, guys, then you are done with the notes and you're to complete the classwork, which is a skill check assignment and 1.3 homework, which again is the classwork for today. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to ask me during class time, or you can send me a message on Verge, or you can send me a message through my email or Google Voice. Have a great day.